You're welcome. It's great to have you here today.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hmm. So, what is your story?
So, my story is my family immigrated here when I was two.
Hmm.
And growing up, I didn't have very many roots here. So, I was always a little confused, I guess, in one way about how people had, like stable families and things like that. And I guess I got some resentment from that and a lot of like early childhood trauma from, usually immigrants, the families don't make it through that transition. So it was just a lot of trauma in my childhood and it impacted my mental health in my young adult life. So I struggled a lot with depression and anxiety and mood swings. Just it was very difficult for me to maintain any kind of grounding or footing, and especially in relationships. And yeah, all of this kind of trickled into every area of my life. And unfortunately, I made some poor decisions and, uh, hung around like the wrong crowd, and that just took me down the wrong path. But I decided to eventually look within and see what maybe the problem was coming from myself. And I started therapy and studying psychology. And then from that, I decided to pursue art therapy because I was always a painter. I was always studying art. And yeah, I realized my art helped me work through my pain and my struggles, even when I didn't know it was doing it. Just the practice of art my entire life really helped me find my voice when I had no voice. So that's my
Hmm.
story.
Oh, wow. So, your advice to anybody right now who is trying to find their voice and heal would be if you can get into art.
Yes, basically, it doesn't even have to be painting or drawing. Some people, I feel, are very unsure about using mediums they're unfamiliar with, but it can just be being creative.
Hmm.
Doing a creative act, like maybe some people enjoy cooking or even writing, just anything creative that they express themselves with.
Hmm. What makes art powerful?
What makes art powerful? Well, art has been used in cultures and civilizations since the beginning of time. And I believe that holds a lot of power and
Hmm.
strength to the meaning behind art. We're the only species that creates art. So um, I believe it connects us all and it holds such high spiritual meaning as well for a lot of people.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's so much power behind art, I believe.
Hmm. Wow. And you're showing me some decks you created.
Yes.
Decks.
So
What's the story
this
behind
is
that?
my deck in
Yes.
code healing intention, and basically this was the first version, but I have these different cards here,
Hmm.
and they all mean something. And basically, it's like guidance, like daily inspiration. You would pick one, and then that would be your card for the day.
Hmm.
And
I like the fire one.
you like the fire one? Yeah, that one's been coming up a lot. It's nice and
Hmm.
summer. This one's called Burn.
Hmm. Oh.
So basically, you put all of your worries and problems in the fire and it transforms it. I also like working in a magical way. I like believing that art has this magical power to transform our feelings and emotions. So yeah, these cards are pretty magical. Um, yeah, there's just a lot behind them.
In terms of healing, how do you use your art to heal?
Well, in terms of healing, for me, it's really about the intention.
Hmm.
So that's how I use my art to heal is with the intention for healing.
Hmm.
When I practice healing art, it's basically sort of like art therapy. but it's different because it doesn't go into the whole psychology behind it. But the intention is to create a space that you can express yourself in and have a self-reflective process.
Mm.
So in that process where you express something and then look at it as a reflection, then you can really transform or heal some parts that maybe we don't know are there, because it works with the subconscious mind.
Mhm.
And I believe that there's a lot for us to really, respect and honor in the subconscious mind, because we don't notice sometimes how much subconscious things can have an impact on us.
Mm. So the art is very connected to our subconscious, right?
Yes, I
Yes.
believe.
Yes. So when we're creating art, or when we are even consuming art, right, in the presence of art, something happens where we are very connected to our subconscious, and that's where the healing happens, because it uncovers things in the subconscious. Am I getting it right?
Yes, yes, exactly right. And even beyond that, it also impacts that our collective consciousness. So it works on like that kind of micro level with our personal subconscious, and then I feel like it also connects us to everything around us. So it's it's both, and it's intertwined in that way. That's how it's
Collect-
healing, in my opinion.
Collective consciousness. What's that?
Okay, so because I studied psychology, it's Carl Jung was a great psychologist, and yeah, he coined the term collective unconscious. So it's the idea that we all share one collective unconscious, and there's archetypes like the archetypal mother, the archetypal um, warrior or hero, and that exists in our universe. So that's what connects all of our stories together.
Mm. Wow. So in one way or form, we are all connected.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. And does each person possess all of them, or or how does that work?
Well, I believe that each person can possess all of them, or some of them on different levels.
Level.
I believe so. We can all have the, let's say, like the warrior archetype in us, but maybe some people also have the mother archetype, so the nurturing archetype. Yeah, you can hold both simultaneously,
Mm.
and other ones as well. There's so very many. I don't know. I don't remember all of them.
Oh,
To be
wow. So, what are some projects that you're working on currently?
So currently, I am always working on my encoded healing intention. So that's what these cards are. They are like little portals, if you can imagine. Like I use the words there to reprogram the mind.
Mm.
So I make personal ones for people. So usually it has a symbol of like an animal or insect or flower, just so the person can connect with the imagery.
Mm.
And it's supposed to impact your subconscious minds and your just your overall state of being. And so I'm always working on that. And I'm also starting to work on personal like art healing sessions. So I call it art magic, and basically I walk somebody through the creative process, and we discover things that could be useful on their journey, or things that weren't clear to them. There's a lot of clarity you can receive in the creative process, and that's also what I'm working on right now.
So they work on the art, you work on the art, or missed you do it together.
Well, yes, I work on my own piece of art while they work on the art.
Mm, yeah.
Um, so it's not like I'm just watching them work on the art. So the idea is we're both working on the artwork simultaneously. Maybe beforehand, we'll ask some questions to see what we would like to explore,
Mm.
and then create a finished piece. And I always say all the time, we're not going for perfection. We're not trying to paint the Mona Lisa right now. It's just a creative exercise. We use different colors, and then after that, I walk them through, or I'm the guide into their subconscious mind where they can discover different things. And at the end, we have the artwork, which is a symbol of our process and healing transformation.
So they keep that.
Yes, exactly.
That becomes it's almost a ticket for for the healing. So this
Yeah,
that must be powerful. Every time they even try to go back into the things that they healed from, they could see they could go and just reflect on the art and take on that energy of the healing that happened.
exactly. There's a lot of energy work involved as well. I've always been sensitive in that way with energy, and I'm intuitive. And there's different clairs, so clairvoyance and claircognizance.
Mm,
Clairvoyance is when you can see clearly.
mm,
Claircognizant is when you just have that knowing, that
mm,
inner knowing feeling. So yeah, I've always had these gifts, and basically, I'm trying to weave my experience of energy and subtle energy with psychology and healing.
mm.
And all of that together makes my elixir for the healing art.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some things that being a psychologist or studying psychology that you have picked up or you learned that people do not know that could somehow affect or change their lives in one way or the other? Or maybe something that they are doing that is even affecting their life. But what are some things that you learn from that people can really implement into their lives?
Okay, well, definitely there's a lot of things. I'm not sure, there's popular psychology, but to me, I learned about the law of attraction and our thoughts become things in our external reality. And I've always had the question about mental health and spirituality, and how, if somebody has a mental health issue like depression, per se, um, how can they get over it to the point where they feel a sense of control again in their lives? So I've been sort of investigating this in my art, and basically, what I can share is, excuse me, I can share that it's just the process of self awareness and mindfulness.
Mm,
So, in my journey, I discovered that it's easy to get lost in our thoughts
mm,
and identify with them as if all of our thoughts are, how things are. And that's how I feel people get depressed. So, I would say to cultivate self awareness and understand that our thoughts are not always what things really are.
mm. So self-awareness. Our
Yes.
thoughts are not our thoughts are not necessarily reality. Our thoughts are not a projection of reality.
Yeah. Well, they are sort of. And then also to not be attached so much to them, especially if somebody is experiencing like a negative or a depressed state. I believe, I've struggled with this a lot in my life, and I found a way out of those kind of states by expressing myself and with creativity, and then also meditation and mindfulness, just to be aware of where our thoughts are going, and it puts us back in the driver's seat instead of our thoughts
Mm,
chattering and
mm. Oh, wow.
taking the road.
Yeah. So you do digital art. What is that? What is that as well? You do digital art as well. What is that? Like, how does that work?
Teaching the art.
Digital art.
Oh, digital art. I apologize. Yes, digital art. So I use Photoshop, and basically what I do is digital collage. So I find a lot of images online, and I make sure, of course, that they're free and I can use them. And so I use images of animals, plants, flowers, even crystals, nature, anything. And then I create, using symbolism and different collage methods in Photoshop. I just create these images. So that's how I use digital art.
Wow. So the people that come to you for these cards, those cards are beautiful, by the way. I like the reflection on them as well. You know,
Yes, yes, they're holographic. I just personally really like shiny and rainbowy
shiny.
things.
Yeah. Yeah. So the people that come to you for this art, what do they usually want?
Well, usually they want some better connection with themselves and their spirit, or maybe some clarity in their life situations. People I find use the cards that are curious about exploring their spiritual side, or yeah, just becoming closer to themselves or more aware of their internal state of being, I guess to say.
Mhm. Oh, wow. And you do they show you the kind of pictures to use or the words? Like what do they have to do on their own part?
Oh, well, when I create them personally for people, my favorite thing is I basically ask three. Three to me is a magical number. So I ask for three symbols, and that's their animal, a
Mm,
plant or flower, that's their favorite, and then the intention.
mm.
So the intention is usually like the three words that I have in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
For somebody to kind of focus on their intention. I feel like when we have an intention of, focused intention, that it can actually change our reality and our state of things. So when somebody, I guess, let's say needs peace, they would come and, be like, my intention is peace. I
Mm,
need to be more peaceful in stressful situations. So I imagine they would say, my favorite animal is a fox.
mm,
And then my favorite flower is a carnation, right? So then I would use those symbols and images and create kind of uh, I guess like a hypnotizing mirrored reflection image of, to me it's like the energy of what they want in a physical form, so they can
mm.
look at it and
Yeah.
sort of become it.
Mm. Oh, wow. And
Mhm.
individual cards or they get a whole deck?
Oh, well, if somebody comes to me for individual ones, then that's just the individual card. I like to also keep them on my phone as a wallpaper to constantly remind and reprogram my mind. But I do have separately the whole deck available, and that's basically wisdom and just ideas I've collected over time that I found helpful and that people can use in the deck every day,
Mm,
to pull a card and, stick it on their fridge or something and just be reminded of an uplifting
mm,
uh, sense.
mm. What are some core principles or a core principle or belief that you live by?
So some core principle beliefs I live by are that we are responsible for well, besides things that are out of our control, we're responsible for how we react to things that happen to us, and we're responsible um, for how we put ourselves out into the world. So it's this kind of back and forth
Mm,
play between our external and our internal.
mm,
So I really live by that. I really live by being conscious and aware. Um, and yeah, so I like to take that mindfulness approach towards every situation in my life. And I like to live mindfully, and yeah, it's big difference from having mental health issues that I had in the past.
mm. All right. Thank you very much for coming up today, sharing your message, your beliefs, and your art with us. It's great to have you.
Awesome, thank you very much for speaking with me and having me as well.
Yes.